Hello there, everybody. My name is Red, and welcome to Kamen Memory of Heroes. I said I was going to do this game a bit earlier, but messed up thing is this is the second time I've had to retry it after that update video. I'm kind of happy for once that I can say something that's not immediately outdated. But yeah, this is Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes. It's a game that, well, upon seeing the first trailer of it, I knew I had to get for multiple reasons. One, I'm a big fan of Kamen Rider. Two, Kamen Rider's 50th anniversary was coming up. And three, the three riders on the cover. Zero, One, Double, and O's. Now, in the original trailer, they show Zero, One, and O's first. And Double first, that they show O's. O's is the very first Kamen Rider I ever saw anything of. His was the first series I ever finished, followed by Den-O and Forze. I had to get this game after seeing that. So, yeah. I'm kind of happy I did get it, because this game is a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and get started. And I do apologize, because again, I already started this game over, so you won't see that many achievements in the first couple of parts, but that's because, again, I had to start over. To be fair, it's the same with a few other parts after this, because I had to start over anyway, but that was because of the fact that the capture card I was using at the time. You see, what I was using at the time was my Elgato, which does not want to work with any of my tech devices, so that had to be scrapped near immediately. And we start off with our first rider, the Reiwa era's first Kamen Rider, Kamen Rider 01. Whose series I need to get back into, because I think it was around like the 20 episode mark I had to quit watching for reasons. Not because the show was bad or anything, I just had a bunch of stuff I had to do. But I do plan on getting back into 01, because I need to finish that show. Oh yeah, also we have a JoJo character here with us. And no, you're not hearing things. That is actually the voice actor of Dio from JoJo. Oh yeah, one of the big things is I'm trying to figure out when this takes place, because we don't see 01 again for a while. Because this has to take place only a slight bit after where I currently am in the game, because of one, that metal, and two, also, in case you're wondering what, because I believe it said 01 was the first of the Reiwa era. Reiwa is a term given to writers past the year 2019, I believe. Well, anything past Kamen Rider Zio. Because in Japan, with shows like this, they're separated into multiple eras. Godzilla's is the same way. Only difference with Godzilla is technically the Millennium era is still technically the Heisei era. The Showa era is anything before... I'm trying to remember, but it's the point where Turbo Ranger and Kamen Rider Black were. Technically, Black Arc started halfway, making him technically the first Heisei writer, but they don't count him. The first one to count the entire era as a whole is Kuga, despite the fact of how Black, Shin, Jay, and Zoe all technically count. And then there's also within Kamen Rider Neo Heisei. The Neo Heisei started with Double, and it keeps going on all the way forward. In fact, one of the main things that people say ties it together, all the Heisei series together, Neo Heisei series together, is the number theory. And in case you're wondering what that is, there's a long-standing theory within the Kamen Rider fandom that from Double all the way to, well, technically Decade all the way to Zio, there is a number theory. But I'll talk about it in a second, because I kind of want to bring up those metal guys we just saw there a second ago. They are known as Foundation X. Foundation X is an enemy that is constantly seen within the Neo Heisei era. They started appearing in Double, and they actually made a return appearance in Heisei Generations Final, which was a return of some Kamen Riders, and was also the crossover between Kamen Rider Build and Xaid. But I'll get more into that later. Only thing I'll say about that, since neither Build or Xaid, isn't that I hate Build's Legendary Rider stuff, because it doesn't give him a special and unique form based off of that rider. It just gives him another form. It just makes him transform into that rider. But anyway, I digress. Everyone, this is Hidari Shotaro. Shotaro is he's more of the weapon and the physical side of Kamen Rider Double. Also in this game, he has no face. Yeah, that's a thing for everyone in this game, and I don't understand why. And to be fair, I don't really mind it as much, because we're not really going to see much of their faces. I mean, we're not going to see much of them untransformed, which I'm more than okay with. But this is just let's get the basic controls down before we transform, because again, this is the only time we'll ever play as an untransformed rider. You'll see him in another rider untransformed, but that's going to be it. And also, in case you're wondering, yes, this is actually what he wears throughout the entire show. Dude dresses nicely. And everyone, this is Kamen Rider Double. And speaking of which, while I'm showing off the tutorial, I'll talk more about the whole number theory thing. Basically, within Kamen Rider, there is there's a thing going around the numbers of gimmicks within a certain rider. O's, Double, and Forza are the ones that clearly tie together the best. But first, what is Ride Power? A power of Kamen Riders. It is used up during powerful moves. It reveals over time when not in use during such actions. Rider power. Action used in Rider Power. Powerful actions including strong attacks, unique attacks, and dodge and form changes, which we'll be getting into more, because that's actually something the Neo Heisei era is more known for. Sure, it's been a thing since Kuga, but the Neo Heisei era is when that became more of a prominent thing. And in case you want to know how to do Rider Power, we do that with those attacks. But basically, the way it goes is there's a strong theory involving, the number theory. Basically, it continues on from there, and there's always something to tie together. The reason why I say that O's, Double, and Forza are the ones who are the most likely that you're going to be seeing that with is because the fact that they're the ones that make the most sense when seeing their gimmicks. Double has 2 Gaia memories, which are those USB sticks you saw him put in. O's has the 3 medals. Forza has a control panel on his belt, which requires 4 Astro switches. But one second here. Let's see. Controls R3, lock on, lock off, when locked on. Right stick, left and right to change your target. Up and down to lock onto the farthest / nearest target. Maintain focus on a single enemy. Because after Forza is when it gets kind of stretching it a little bit. Because with Wizard, whose driver's a hand, people talk about the fact of how he's got 5 fingers on it. After that, you have Gaim, whose lock seeds for his gimmick make a 6. You have Drive, whose shift card technically makes a 7, which I don't see. You have Ghost, whose icons technically make an 8, because there's 2 little parts to them, which I guess. The Gashat's looking like a 9, that I can actually see. I don't understand how Build fits in. And Zeo has 11. Oh yeah, and also counterattack. You're going to want to learn how to do this properly because of the fact of everything that comes with it. But basically, whenever you see enemy glow yellow, you have the chance to counterattack. Whenever you see that exclamation mark over them, that gives you a chance to counterattack, which can also refill health. It's not a lot of health, but it is enough to help. And last but not least, our Gaia break. I mean maximum drive in this case. Which I really do love. Like, all of Double's finishers are actually really cool. Just because of the fact they always take in a combination of two sides that he's using. Oh, and here's where we get a little idea on what Double can do exactly. So let's go ahead and get what's considered to be the main forms out of the way, because we won't see these things again for a while. Excuse me. Once you learn the basics, it's time for you to develop your own style. Monitor your ride power and link and attain chains and liquid chains to finish off mutants with powerful EX attack. Victory will depend on how well you can use each character's abilities. Sorry, I feel like I had to sneeze there for a second. Also, I love the fact that sometimes you can hear a bowling sound effect. And I love that one. Luna Trigger. It combines Luna's abilities to basically make it so he can curve shots. It's the one I use the most whenever I'm trying to use the gun, but Heat Joker. Basically one of his ultimate brawling forms. Because each side has a has an ability to them or something else like that. Like, the Joker side of him will allow him to do mostly combat style stuff. The metal side will have him do stuff involving the staff. And of course the trigger will have him do gun type stuff. Cyclone has wind. Heat has fire. I don't know how to probably describe Luna besides the fact that it makes him Mr. Fantastic. Alright, let's try out one of the other forms. Okay, let's try out the next one. Again, it's pretty fun. In fact, that's where you'll find the most fun in this game, is by mixing together their abilities. There's something unbelievably fun about that. But anyway, that concludes the tutorial. But now that we got the tutorial done, I believe we get to something that actually does utterly infuriate me a bit. And you'll see it. It's nothing bad involving the game, but it's just whatever I want, Dio. Oh, and in case you're wondering what he is, technically, he is a dopant. A dopant is basically the type of things that Kamen Rider Double usually fights. Using, like, older versions of the Gaia memories, they inject them into certain parts of their bodies. Basically, they're kind of like USB drugs in their case. Also, I'm going to talk over this just to make sure I don't get any copyright or anything like that, because I don't know how this song would be handled. But I gotta admit, I love this opening cutscene. The only problem with me is that this is the only cutscene in the entire game like this, and I hate that so much, because look at this. This looks so good. This is actually how I wish the entire game looked. It's to the point where I hope we get like a sequel to this game, or another game sort of like this one, which combines certain Kamen Riders, because that's one of my favorite things with this series. Whenever we do get to see writers meet up together, That's one of the reasons why most of the crossover movies are some of my favorite things involving the series. To see them all work together, see them all talk and everything. Which, to be fair, which is one reason why I don't like the earlier ones, because in the earlier ones, it's basically one half for one writer, one half for another writer, and then they meet up. I don't think they stopped that until Ghost, which was about 5 years into making those. But I'm so glad they dropped that, because I love seeing these writers meet up, and I love seeing them talk. Oh, speaking of which, I also do own a Kamen Rider double belt. I just don't wear it as much as I do the others. That's also just because of the matter being I'm afraid of losing the Gaia memories. It's the equivalent when I lost my the stuff to my O's driver at one point. Thankfully, I was able to find it, and I'm still upset about that day. But I'll get into that later. Also, I do have to admit, I love this cutscene because it actually does give a reason to why you can't transform into those forms. It's the usual enemy more powerful than you beats you up thing, but at the same time, though, at least it gives me some excuse. And that plus, we can see throughout the game that Zeus is an incredibly powerful dopant, so it's not like this comes out of nowhere. But anyway, we just got teleported to Sector City. You might be wondering how we got there. Well, you're going to see who did that in a second. Everybody, this is I, our little robot companion for this game. What is it with Kamen Riders and Rangers having to help out like little tiny robots? Because there's this robot, there's the one in Cho Superhero Taisen, and technically there's the one in Heroez from the thing that people consider Heroez to be based off of. You know, well, to be fair, teleportation is an exact science. That plus I can understand that one. Although I do find it funny considering the fact that the guy member that that landed close to him. I gotta admit, hearing core energy involving him makes me wonder why Kamen Rider Core wasn't chosen to come back. Because, funny enough, Double's movie writer does appear later in the game, Eternal, but we never see Core. And in case you're wondering who Core is a villain from the O's Double movie, which is sad as it makes me say, I honestly wouldn't recommend that movie. I just wouldn't. It's got some fun moments in the third half, but that's about it, just the third half. In fact, for up until I think again, I want to say until Drive Ghost, I recommend just doing that entirely because one half of one episode, one half of another. An episode for both, and then a movie. To be fair, we also kind of need to do that in order to get everything else working. How badly then did he beat you down for that thing to get broken? Alright. Actions. Perform appropriate actions. An icon will be displayed in places where special actions can be performed, such as opening doors, picking up items, or operating machines. But let's go ahead and go over here and get this. The Joker memory. Shotaro's main one, and this is the one he'll use to turn the Kamen Rider Joker. A Gaia memory containing the memories of the Earth. It is used for Kamen Rider Double and Kamen Rider Joker's transformation and form changes. It serves to heighten physical abilities beyond their limits. Used by Hidari Shotaro, a detective from the I'm not about to try to push that detective agency. Now you may be wondering how is he supposed to transform with just one? Well, it's pretty simple actually. Everyone, this is the Lost Driver. The Lost Driver is a special driver. It is actually the first driver. Shotaro and Phillips is technically the most unique out of all of them, because the Lost Driver is what every other rider not named Axel in the series will use for the most part with him. We turn to Kamen Rider Joker using Lost Driver. The Lost Driver was there's technically two Lost Drivers that Shotaro's ever had control over. One of them is the one used by his mentors, Kamen Rider Skull, and another one used by Eternal. At the end of the Kamen Rider Double season, Philip actually left him a driver, but for spoilerish reasons that still make a bunch of people really, 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 really mad. And I mean like insanely mad. I don't blame them, because 2 years later they pull the exact same crap again. And that one infuriates me a lot more, just because of the fact of the matter being that there's a way more heart-wrenching scene to that one. But anyway, I digress my rantings and mumblings. But thank you all for taking time out of your day to watch. I really do appreciate it. This has been Zayred, and until next time, everyone, take care.